we know, according to the Department of Education, that there are 5,600 homeless teens in Pima County. Not just Tucson, but Pima County. Last year, we served 1,588 of them. So only about a quarter of the kids who we know are out there. So we know as an organization that we're struggling to reach all of the kids who need our help.
So my story begins before I was born. My mother learned the ways that she thought was acceptable for parenting from her mother, and so on and so forth. My mother actually had it a lot worse than I did. You know, unfortunately, like, her mom she would put, I don't know, for the dumbest things, like my mom came home an hour late one time, and my great-grandma just started punching her and just literally wouldn't stop. Her face was so swollen and so beat up. She couldn't go to school for weeks. That's when she left. She left when she was 16. Ironically, I left when I was 16.
So the services that we provide are designed to ensure that they don't have any barriers to go to school. So we provide them with financial assistance based on their good grades and good school attendance. We want them to do well in school and continue going to class. So if they make A's, B's, and C's and they're going to class consistently, they can earn up to $140 a month from this program. In addition to that financial assistance, they can also earn food, clothing, school supplies, hygiene supplies, gift cards for some emergency situations, bikes, bus passes, you name it. Whatever could be a barrier to them attending school, we try our best to provide that. In addition to those tangible items and that financial assistance, we also provide them with guidance and mentoring, because by nature of their circumstances, they don't have parents. And they don't have anyone checking in on them and asking how are they doing, or, you know, what can I help with? So we check in on these students monthly and just make sure that they're on the right track and that they're not only prepared to graduate from high school, but that they have a plan for after high school.
So my story with Yoda begins on January 8th, 2014. My mom, I had a friend over, and my mom got mad because my sister told her to shut up, because it was just a long, drawn-out argument pretty much, and my mom decided that the best form of punishment was to start choking her, and was bashing her head against the sink. Pots were falling everywhere, and the only reason why I actually came and saw it was we heard them screaming, my friend and I, in the room, and then the screaming went silent. And then something told me to, I couldn't leave. I couldn't leave her alone. And I went back in there, and my mom finally let her body go, and it was so limp, she just fell on the ground. After talking to a bunch of people, they finally got me, they made a call to CPS, which was really cool, you know, on my behalf. I made a couple calls, and I finally got started going in the system. And unfortunately, like the system does occasionally, didn't really work in my favor. And they sent me to a group home.
So we at Youth on Their Own don't necessarily operate as a shelter, so we don't have any beds for these students, but what we've found is that the vast majority of our students have some sort of living situation. Although it can be unstable and unsafe, the vast majority of our students are not living on the streets.
I think the most important thing that we need to really build on is when these kids get out of foster care. I noticed for me, it wasn't when I was going through the trauma that was the hardest part, it was after. That's when everything hit me. I was in survival mode, I was living off adrenaline. I didn't need to sleep, I didn't need to eat. I was okay because I was in survivor mode. And then once everything settled down, all of a sudden, all these feelings and emotions came rushing through, and I just didn't know how to handle it. Unfortunately, when I was going through school, I had many mental breakdowns. Eventually it led to a big one when I was up in Flagstaff. I tried to commit suicide. I attempted in my dorm room. Yeah, I just had so many mental breakdowns, and I just kept trying. And it's like you're basically trying to drive a bus with no wheels on it. You know, you're trying just to keep going and everything's falling apart. And eventually you just stop. You just hit rock bottom. And like, fortunately for me, I didn't hit rock bottom with drugs or anything like that. I just emotionally was just so dead inside. You know, I couldn't see the light. I couldn't see why I would need to survive anymore. I finally just was like, you know what? I need to actually deal with this. And I went to a mental hospital and I started therapy. And it's one of the hardest things to accept, that you need therapy, that you need help. Especially coming from where I came from, you don't ask for help. You figure things out on your own. And I think that's one of the stigmas that we need to break. Asking for help is not a bad thing. Asking for help is actually more courageous and more important than just trying to do it on your own.
So we know as an organization that we're struggling to reach all of the kids who need our help. Part of that is due to funding. You know, we can only reach as many kids as we have the money to be able to do so. And part of that is also identifying who they are. Like I mentioned, some of them don't want to be known. You know, they're not wearing a big sign, you know, on their person saying, "Hi, I'm a homeless teen, help me." You know, some of them aren't asking for help.
There's been so many people who have positively affected me. I mean, it ranges from families that have let me stay with them to random homeless people on the bus that I've had 2-second conversations with. I mean, it's crazy the things that'll get you to save your life. It's crazy the small things in life that actually make you just snap you back.
So we're always looking for individuals who feel passionately about this cause and want to give not only their time and their talent, but also their treasure. So, you know, our program is contingent upon having the money to do so. But we understand that not everyone's in a situation to, you know, write a donation check. And that's fine, because we need help in so many other areas. We need folks who are interested in volunteering.
When your family's abusive, you're not supposed to talk to them anymore. You know, they're bad for you, but there's always going to be they're always going to be your family. I think one of the biggest things that I would like to tell them is that, as corny as it sounds, it gets better. It's a slow train ride up, but it gets better, and you slowly start to see the light, you know. But, you know, and the biggest thing that you can do is go to school. Like, whatever your passion is, follow it, but that most of the time, like, you know, you got to go to some sort of trade. Like, just be the best you can be with whatever you're doing, but just stay passionate, you know. Excelsior, man.